become deputy of mayor over the past few years. So I always believe God's time is the best as a Christian.
It's a pleasure to have with us Sunny Lambe today. He's about to be made mayor of the London Borough of Southwark. Very important role. He'll be chair of the council there. A ceremonial role. But he'll be the one that attends important events with a big giant gold chain on.
First citizen of the borough.
The first citizen of the borough. So thank you for being with us, sir.
Thank you. Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Black Economics TV. This is Sunny Lambe, everybody. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you for inviting me.
He's had some amazing news recently. He's going to be mayor of the London Borough of Southwark. He was elected.
Yes, indeed, I'm the mayor-elect.
Yeah, he was deputy mayor last year, apparently. Now he's stepped into the hot seat. So congratulations, Sonny.
Thank you. This weekend, this Saturday, I'll become the mayor.
Okay, yes, the inauguration happens on Saturday. So that should be very interesting. Well done.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us about yourself, Sonny. What is it that you have been doing over the last few years before you now step into your new role? Tell us what you've been doing. What's the heights of your achievements?
Yeah, I'm a councillor, doctor in business management, councillor Dr Sunny Lambe in business management, and if you go on my, probably see a few titles after my name.
Oh, really?
Yes, you know, I've only become I became politician in 2014. But prior to that, as a management consultant, so I think for about 30 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I've worked at local, London and national levels. You know, all this. Of course, my specialism is small and medium enterprise development and support. I train, I lecture. I do all these things. Even I would publish out with a magazine, Ethno News, some years back. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I do business awards every year. As you know, you are one of the recipients of the award.
Yes, indeed. That was a nice surprise during the pandemic.
But you deserve it. You know, it's just a pity that I was doing pandemic. But you deserve it. You're doing some great things in the community as well. Because that's what the award is all about.
Yeah.
When I started in 2004 as Black Business Awards. Of course, you know, it's been rebranded a few times since then, you know, because we wanted to make it as inclusive as possible. But the reason why I started in 2004, because I was the chair of Black History Month. Then, of course, I was vice chair a few years, but when I became the vice chair of Southwark Black History Month, then I was looking for ways to recognize economic achievement in the Black community. We are not just about athletics, we are not just about music, Black people are present and acting in every facet of the community, local, nationally and internationally. So therefore that should be recognized, and that's why I started the Black Business Award in 2004, October 2004. I think 28th
so
of
this year?
Yeah, so this year is going to be 22nd one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've done it every year since
Every
then?
year since then.
Oh my goodness.
I've never missed one single year. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, even during COVID, when you receive your award, we did online, and then those who won the award, they then collect it from me, or we post it to them, you know, later on.
Yeah.
But we never miss a single year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
So, in terms of your own business as a management consultant, were you working with a firm or were you self-employed?
Funny enough, in the 90s, when most of us graduated and so on, as you probably remember, especially those Africans who came to this country, they will tell you when you apply for jobs, they will tell you you overqualified, or you have strong African assets. Strangely enough, even after 38 years of being in the country, I still have a bit of it because that's what makes me work.
A bit, yes.
Unfortunately, it was very difficult to get into job. So in 1998, I then set up the Confederation of African Professionals UK as a way of a networking of people of African background, which also included African, Caribbean, as well as people directly from Mother Africa in this country, and those crossing from Europe. As you know, in the 90s, that's when the old Soviet Union broke up, and some black people who are living in European countries, they have opportunity to cross over. Unfortunately, they will say their qualifications were not acceptable, so they have to do conversion course. And most of them were not familiar with the terrain in this country. So through Confederation African Professional UK, which I set up, to be able to have a network, we're able to have counseling support, and then we're able to encourage most of our members who have expertise and experience to set up their own businesses. Okay, if nobody wants to employ you, why not set up your own?
Yeah, make your own job.
Because those days there weren't many black businesses, as you know, in the 90s. There are businesses, black businesses, but not many. But look at now, we have so many black businesses across London, across the country, which is a blessing, which means we've achieved our objective basically, to economically empower our community so that we are not just beggars, but we are creators of employment, jobs, of various jobs, and employing others as well.
So what types of business were you working with? What sectors were they in?
Some were in the hospitality industry, some of our professional services, some were, some were in construction. It was very diverse, because the idea was to have a network of our businesses from the black community and those who had not started to have opportunity to think about setting up their own businesses, and that was what it was all about. Also, those who were not familiar with interview techniques and so on. So we used to provide, interview technique, training, coaching, practice, all these things, just to make sure they are ready, because sometimes it's very easy for anyone or somebody to blame other people to say, oh, why they don't want to employ me because X, Y, Z. Also, you need to look at yourself. How do I make myself a better person? What are the areas I need to develop? Because very easy, very convenient for me to blame you without actually looking at myself as well. I'm not saying perhaps there isn't, or there weren't, discrimination or every kind of prejudice you might think of. However, sometimes you need to also look at how can I circumvent that? Is there something I need to improve to at least to make myself a better person so that there won't be any excuse to turn me down? So all these things we used to, walk around. And we've been doing it for years. Yes.
Okay, so while you were busy helping other businesses, I would hope that you were also earning. So would you say that you earned enough to live on? Would you say that you had some years or months where you had very good income?
To be honest, at the beginning, it was difficult. But there was a time I started with self-employment, just like my other colleagues have mentioned, because we couldn't go into mainstream employment. So I became a consultant. Business management consultant and trainer in 1992-93. That was when I did my MBA, and then so I was doing that until 2007, I think. I then went to do teacher training at Greenwich University, which I finished in 1998. Fortunately for me, or unfortunately may I say, I didn't go on and do full-time lecturing. because I was employed by a charitable organization because they just got a new deal contract from the government and needed somebody to head our project, which covers Lambeth and Southwark. So I was then invited to come and lead on it, and then led on it until 2001, which covered Lambeth, Southwark, even in the contract involved Cross River Partnership, London Development Agency and so on. And then I then crossed over went to work for Camden Council, as a business support officer, which covered the whole of the borough, early years. So, and I remember, that was the time when, there was a different government in power, when they have business support embedded in each of those departments. So I was responsible for developing a handbook called, a handbook, Making Child Minding My Business for the borough, because I wanted to empower the childminders across the borough.
Brilliant, wonderful.
Because if you go back to a few years ago, now the childminders, they have, I would say their profile is being raised. Everybody, is very proud to call themselves childminders now. But if you go back 20 years ago or more, if you see a childminder, people think this is a person or persons that probably drop out, they don't have any educational attainment, so their profile was very low. And when I recognized that, it's okay, maybe something needs to be done. It happens that the Department for Education and Skill then invited all of us who are business support officers for each borough, because each borough in London had their own business support officer in the early years. So, and then asked us to come up with ideas to improve things.
Okay.
So how about if we do a handbook? Okay, give us a proposal, and every one of us present our proposal. Which mine was the handbook, Making Child Minding My Business. Which I then did for Camden Council. And funny enough, they say it's actually one of the best across the country then.
Oh, well done.
In fact, I still have a copy at home.
Okay.
Make sure I have my name somewhere so that people know it was me who developed it.
You probably need to make it into a book now.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I really have it here. So,
that's useful information, seriously.
Then, funny enough, then I became, let me see what happened. Then redundant because they wanted to, I think I spent up to 2005, I remember, 2005, they then wanted to make some reorganization and so on. And I was so lucky that my borough, Southwark, then wanted to do some business support, business development initiative for the whole borough,
Okay, so Southwark is where you live?
Oh yeah, this is where I live. I've lived here for over 38 years.
Okay.
So they then, bless Andy, one of the officers in the economy development. Then, Sonny, we like what you've been doing, we've been watching, because I wanted to do something in the borough before I moved out of the borough. Unfortunately, through Black Business Initiative, which I then formed in 2001 before I went to Camden.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there was a lot of regeneration going on in Southwark, North Peckham Estate. It didn't get any contract, so I got employed by Camden, so I moved there. And then when I became redundant in 2005, then Southwark, funny enough, was a coalition government then. Live there and tourists were running the show. And then invited me to come and develop a program for them. And they told me, okay, we have this rough budget we have. What can they buy? I said, I put everything together. I said, wow, this is actually big. Was part of the project was Ethnics, the magazine which I mentioned about, the networking, Southwark Ethnic Business Association. I put a package of support initiative, and which was then funded until 2010 when there was a change of government.
So this sounds like a time when local authorities were actually looking after their local small businesses.
I think, to be honest with you, I will say yes.
They don't do that anymore?
I'm not going to say whether they're not doing that. I would say yes, more emphasis were placed on creating small businesses and so on, which is part of economic empowerment.
Yes.
Because I remember there used to be a grant which was introduced by, I think it was the Tories who were in government at the national level then, which means if you have an idea and you want to set up a business, you can actually get up to £2,000 to set up your business. Mm-hmm. Because I was part of business support, team that used to, recommend to some of our clients if they wanted to set up where they can get a public fund. So if you're unemployed and then you get £2,000 to test the grant to see whether it's going to work or not. Mm-hmm. And then that's one of the examples I gave when I was doing the DWP, Department of Works and Pension Program on New Deal. Because some of my clients at the time, they were 18 to 24 year olds, covering Lambeth and Southwark, whereby I think they used to get up to £5,000 actually, if I can remember correctly, but different scheme. So they will open their bank account, and then they will be working. It could be landscaping, it could be anything at all, and then. But they will not be able to access the money. They just open bank account, and then if they believe they are earning sufficiently enough income and they want to come out, that's when they get access to the money. Okay. So we can see that encourage people to, because the guarantees that all the security, I would say, is that the father they see on benefit. Yeah. They see continue to, so they are not losing out. Yeah. However, if they are working and making money, they have to have a business bank account, and they cannot access that without the college, because there is a collaboration between business support officers and the new D client. So therefore, they are not going to have access to that money until they want to come out, sign off, and then they can run the business independently and run that money and access to that money. So that helps them to be independent, and also security. If they are not ready, they're not confident enough to start running their own businesses, they know they can rely on the benefit until short time where they can afford to do so. Okay. So I think, to be honest, it was quite a very good scheme.
That's interesting. That's good.
And I hope government can think along that line and help not just young people, especially women who are we call them women returnee. Those who are just coming to the employment market after they've taken some time off, maybe, because of children and so on. So I think government probably, maybe it's something they could look at in future.
I think it might be worthwhile for people, if they're interested in that, to check what their local authority is offering. Because there might be similar programs. And if we find it while I'm editing the video, I'll put a link to it. And of course,
national government as well, because sometimes some schemes, it could be a collaboration between the local, even London government. You get what I'm saying? It will be the local government, the London or the regional government, may I say, because the principle could apply to different parts of the country. Okay. So because you have regional mayors now, city mayor they call them. So therefore they have their own budget and they have their own people they need to what works, because about what works for our own people, isn't it? What works in Southwark may not work in other boroughs or cities. So understanding your own people and see what scheme you want to introduce.
All right. Now, can we go back a bit and talk about your early life and education? This is where you tell us your story in 5 minutes.
Maybe I should refer you to my book. I don't know if you know I wrote a book.
Okay, what's the title of the book?
Unbroken, A Dream for My Sister.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was, of course, I wrote that book 2 years ago, 2022. Okay. About 3 years ago now, isn't it? In fact, I'm probably going to write part 2 of that book Because I stopped somewhere, because of our journey from ground zero to where I am now, and of course you don't know too much about ground zero because some people who are, I mean, when I say ground zero, from when you are conceived, born, and
is that ground zero? Oh, I see.
You don't know much. You just realize you're in this world, and then you then realize people were supposed to be there, for one reason or another. They're not there, and this country, especially when I moved to Peckham about 38 years ago, then I realized that some young people, we have similarities, you have disadvantaged background, you have dysfunctional family and so on. And sometimes what I learned is that sometimes the children are thrown into a deep end, and if you are not lucky, they find yourself mixed with different crowds or wrong crowd. If you are not lucky enough to quick trace your way back, you find yourself, your lives already, find yourself in prison or doing all sorts of things, and your life is wasted away. And funny enough, that's one reason why I decided to get involved in community development, to give something back to the community, and I'm involved in mentoring. I mean, I've done that now. Successfully and consistently.
You haven't told us about your childhood though. Were you born here, brought up here?
I came from Nigeria.
Okay.
I came from West Africa.
How old were you when you came here then?
When I came here, I was in my 20s.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, in fact, I was, I think it was 2 weeks after my birthday or something, or a week after.
So you were navigating between the difference there and here, huh? How did you find it?
As a Commonwealth citizen,
yeah.
You have opportunity to come to the UK. You don't even need a visa. You can just say, I'm visiting, and you get to the UK and say, how long are you staying for? Oh, I'm staying for a month or two, okay, and they give you your visas. With your Nigerian passport.
Yeah.
Then, of course, 38 years after, I'm still here. And I'm married with children, grandchildren.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria.
So what was your childhood like there?
It was challenging.
Was it?
That's why I'm saying that when
Were you in the city or in the villages?
In the city.
In the city?
I was born in the city. I come from city.
Lagos?
Ibadan. No, Ibadan.
Okay.
Ibadan is the capital of Western Nigeria.
Oh, right.
Lagos used to be capital of Nigeria.
Yes, yeah.
And between Ibadan and Lagos, about 120 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
So, and in fact, Ibadan is the second largest city in Africa. I think apart from Cairo or something like that.
So how was it difficult?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I was saying earlier, if you come from a dysfunctional family where mom and dad they are not there, no matter how much support you get, you still miss out in one way or the other.
So you saying neither mom or dad were there?
No, sometimes you could find yourself that maybe they break up.
Yeah.
In my own case, they broke up. So when they broke up, you can end up with what is called, I can't remember what the extended family, what's the language they use, I want to relate it to the language you can understand in this environment. Fostering,
Fostering?
Yes,
Oh.
extended family fostering and so on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, so we are, it's not just me that went through that, there's so many people who went through that.
Really?
And that is why when you go through that, then you understand life, and then you appreciate life more. And then you can understand, this is what I was talking about, people from Southwark and Peckham, for instance. I could understand some young people who came from similar background. But my response to that, what can I do? How can I support?
Yeah.
And I was saying to my grandson yesterday, and I say, there is nothing wrong being born into a challenging background, one-parent background, but what is wrong here if you think that dictates who you're going to be in life? No, that is not what makes you who you are. It gives you something to reflect upon and to make a better life for yourself. So most of young people have mentored, hundreds, if not thousands of people over the last few decades. I used to mentor for London Borough University, on enterprise and so on. University of Paris students. They used to, especially when my office,
wow.
this BBIC used to have an office. I used to mentor for them.
Okay.
Most of their students. So yes, being born in such environment gives you something to share. Because if you didn't take, for instance, you are business management consultant, then you have a lot of expertise and experience. If because of you may have something that you find very challenging while going through that, maybe while training, but at the same time, it gives you something to share with others. That hey, everybody have an issue, but that may not necessarily define you. Part of that issue can also make you the stronger person that you are now.
Absolutely.
So, and there's the positive I
Yes.
take from the negative most of the time, which I share with people. Go and read Unbroken, a dream for my sister. That's my book. It's on Amazon.
So why is
By
it called
Sunny
Dreams
Lambe.
for My Sister?
It's called Dream for My Sister because my sister and I were very close, and I wouldn't want to give too much away because I want people to go and investigate, read
Go
our
read the
book.
book.
However,
We'll put the link to the book.
yeah, Unbroken, a dream for my sister.
Oh,
You
wow.
can see Unbroken, then a dream for my sister. So that actually is 2 parts. Right, Unbroken, a dream for my sister is a book which was written by myself in 2012. It's a biographical account because I know from the course of our interview you were asking me questions about my background and so on, and that actually tells the world because sometimes when they see you, thank God, I will say I can't deny in my own little way I'm successful because success is not just by how much is your bank account, it's just by so many other variables. So I see myself as successful, especially I'm being mayor-elect as a foreigner because I remember there's a bloody foreigner. My colleague went, I think, yeah, but that is because I wasn't born here. I'm not white, so I wasn't privileged. But the little opportunities I've had, I use them, and I also use them to bless other people as well through my mentoring, through my training program.
Yeah.
So I see myself as, lucky. But luck doesn't fall in your lap. Sometimes you have to make it yourself. So yes, if I look at my journey, and that's why I decided to write that biographical account as well. Part 2 will be coming very soon as well. Another book, I have a few books I want to write, even professional books. Unfortunately, I don't have the time. Hopefully, maybe after my mayoral year, either I'm seeing politics or doing other things, I want to write other books because I have a few ideas. At least I have about 2 or 3 other books I want to write, just a matter of time.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Unbroken is on Amazon. It's published by Kiblis Publishers. So, it tells you my journeys in life. It has not been easy. I could have ended up like any other person who went astray. Because when you're vulnerable, when mom and dad is not there, they're not there, you are vulnerable. But thank God, and I knew God when I was young. So, and my dad was also an evangelist. And also, I grew up in an environment where we have the village approach to upbringing. Your uncle, your brother across the road, you have so role models. Funny enough, when Damilola Tilo died in Peckham in 2000, I was interviewed by BBC, I think, because I was earning, you talk about earning and so on. I'm professional, I was earning very well. My wife was earning very well as well. We could have moved out of Peckham. Especially my wife, most of our life being born in Peckham, grew up in Peckham. Sometimes you're tired of a place.
Yes.
And I say, I can understand. However, when I look around the people in Peckham, you have single parents, you have some young people who don't have anybody to point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
The people around there are always people who are just come out of jail, and so on. Now, children in that environment, we think that's what life is all about. They won't aim higher. But when they have a contrast, okay, I come out of I came out of dysfunctional background just as I did, but I had a contrast from people around that were doing very well. I was privileged to have lived in a middle class or upper middle class background. When I saw that, no, I want to be like that, and that motivated me to decide to do something. I didn't even start school at the age of 14. I'm talking about I couldn't read around the age of 14.
Really?
Yes, you'll find it in my book as well. Yeah.
Wow. So what, you hadn't been going to school?
No, yeah, because of this what I'm saying, when family become dysfunctional, you can imagine when you that, especially when you become a teenager, you could easily go any direction. But look at me today.
Because education wasn't free, I presume. And
Yeah,
no one
you
was
know,
paying
when-
for your education.
It's more complex than that. Take for instance, you move from this auntie to that uncle. I mean, extended family fostering and so on.
Yeah.
So your education is disrupted.
Oh,
You move
I
from
see.
Manchester to, to London, from London to Bristol, So that's the background. That's how we grew up. Me and my sister, unbroken.
Yeah.
We dream for my sister. So my sister lost her, and my sister said, you know what? Even if my life probably too difficult, but at least my brother, we have to make sure my brother is not left out, not left behind, unbroken. A dream for my sister. So I'm reliving my sister's dream.
Is she still with us, your sister?
Unfortunately, she's gone.
Oh, okay. But did she lived to see you become successful, did she?
Well, a bit.
A bit, okay. Did she come over here as well, or did she stay in Nigeria?
Nigeria.
She stayed okay. So you had the process then of learning, getting your education later in life as a late teenager.
You have to.
And then you caught up.
Now,
Caught up and passed some people.
Look at all the titles now.
Look
after
at
the
you with your
name,
MBA.
MBA, doctor,
Doctorate.
fellowship of many institutions, FRSA,
Wow.
FIM, sometimes when I look back, I didn't even have time to even have time to enjoy, because you keep on, you finish, you want to do another one.
Are you part of a religious group, a church? Or?
Yeah, Church of England.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
always been Church of England most of my life. Yes, St.
So-
Luke's Church, Peckham.
All right, so I presume that your faith has helped to keep you
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
and make you stronger, perhaps.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. Okay, so when did you get into politics?
2014.
Okay, and what made you do that?
To be honest, I didn't want to go into politics. I'm one of the few that didn't want to have anything to do with politics at all. That's the truth. Even my wife knows. I said, no, I'm not interested in politics. And the reason was, when I was growing up in Nigeria, I saw the way politics were played in Nigeria. It made me believe that politics is not for honest people. Politics, it's for, have career politicians, also have career politicians probably succeed, probably climb the ladder more quickly than those who want to serve the community. Forgive me, that's my personal, So I say I'm not interested in politics, because there's a man called Awolowo, one of the, his role is similar to Mandela, but in Nigeria. They are the one who fought for our independence. Some people would regard him as the president Nigeria never had, because when you see most people from western part of Nigeria, for instance, in Yoruba land, they are very educated, well sophisticated, compared with the other part of Nigeria. He and his team, and he be the leader, was responsible for that. Free education at most levels. So that is why when you see most people from Western Nigeria, they are different from, on average, say 70-80%, compared to maybe about 30% compared with other parts of Nigeria. So it was, and when I saw that, the contest election twice and he didn't win, I said, no, I'm not interested in politics. But when I came here, so I was interested in politics. Then 2013 came. But before 2013, when I put myself out to stand for Labour Party, and I've always championed equality, diversity, and inclusion, and that has always been central to my core belief, irrespective of which way you come, whether through politics or community development and so on. So in 1989, I became the first leader for part-time postal workers, and I've successfully fought for part-time workers' rights, which then before it then became popular and law and so on. So I wasn't still interested in politics, but I joined the Labour Party in 1999, and I was not active. So when all my contracts then ended, when there was change of government in 2010. So now BBI, as you had, which was, is still around, but was doing more business development activities then. However, should I then just go and do consulting? So I decided to just do consulting because we weren't getting contract anymore. So things became a bit difficult. Then I saw advert from the Labour Party saying, will I be interested in standing? I said, well, what have I got to lose?
Is this to be a councillor?
Yeah, to be a councillor.
Okay, local
then
councillor.
my godmother, who's the daughter to the man I said the president Nigeria never had, was my godmother. He said, so he came to London. He said, Sonny, what are you doing? I said, well, so. He said, well, why not? Have you ever considered getting involved in politics? He said, not in Africa, Nigeria, but here in the UK. I said,
wow.
Then I said to her, no, mommy, I'm not interested in politics. You know what, Papa, our own father, what that, Papa went through. I'm not interested in politics. He said, no, just give it a go. And then a few months after, I think it's a few months after that when the invitation to express an interest happened. So I expressed my interest. And I thought, because I've lived Peckham most of my life, I did so many community projects, youth development and so on, it should be obvious that I should be selected. One of the people selected. I was not selected to stand in Peckham. Then, that's Peckham ward. Then where my office was, is the different ward. I expressed an interest to stand there. I wasn't selected. That's second time. Then, non-head, I wanted to stand there. I wasn't selected either.
3 times, stand down.
3 times.
Wow. Then,
South Bermondsey, where I am now, if you know the issue of our borough, South Bermondsey was quite a very complex area in the 80s, at least. I can't talk about 70, but it was worse, but at least the 80s, 90s, and so on. That not many people wanted to leave. Not many people, ethnic minority, willingly wanted to live around there. Well, quite very challenging. In terms of race, culture, and so on, was very different.
So it's quite white area?
It's quite, white, yeah, of course, yeah.
White middle class or white working class?
Working class, I think predominantly probably working class. So it was challenging. It's an area I was reluctant to even leave myself that time because of racial tension that existed then. Then contrast that with Peckham. With Peckham, with his own complexities of way challenging the predominantly black, especially North Peckham estate. Crime reading is where Damilola Tilo there and so on. Yeah. So I wasn't selected. Then I was selected to stand in South Bermondsey.
Oh.
Now, to be honest with you, a lot of people, especially from our own black community, are saying, "Are you mad, Sonny? Who's going to vote you there?" I remember people saying that to me, and I said, "Well, nothing is impossible with God, because if it's meant to be, it's going to be. You just have to work hard. And I campaign day and night. And when I knock on the door, I saw somebody come out. Sonny, what are you doing here? Black, white, Oh, where? Leave them. How we don't like Labour here? It is leave them area. I said, well, okay, I understand, but you know me. You know what I stand for. I didn't just start doing this overnight because of vote. I'm consistently doing it. And if I'm elected, I'll continue doing it. So to cut a long story short, so I was selected in South Bermondsey, and then election came and I won. And with my other 3 colleagues as well. And this is my 3rd term. Because it's 4-year term.
Wow.
So from 2014, I was elected in 2018, then I was elected in 2022.
They keep putting you back in.
Until next year. And if I'm selected to stand again for next year, which is 2026, to 2030, then I'll be happy to represent people, good people, as a good people of South Bermondsey again, because they've been kind to me. To be honest with you, when I'm walking in the street of South Bermondsey, and you see people calling me black, white, young, you think I'm in the street of Lagos.
Yeah.
We've managed to forge good, cohesive environment that everybody now feel, we are one people. And that gives me a lot of pride, to be honest with you.
Do you have real influence in terms of what happens in the area? Do you have real influence in terms of what happens in the area?
As a councillor, yes, because especially councillors are elected for local issues.
Yeah.
It could be your cleaning, it could be your parks, it could be so many things. It could be your housing, new builds, and so on. The councillors have a lot of influence.
So you can tell the council how to operate in certain areas?
Yes, we can influence that, because is the government, take for instance at the moment, it's Labour that is running this borough. Now, if we want certain development in our area, we have to work with the government in power. We are just lucky that it's our own party, Labour administration we have, so easier to influence certain policies. It could be new development. It could be
building?
As building, new
education.
Yes, health. Public health. These are things that your cleaning, your refuse collection, your housing, or rehousing. Parks.
So are the minutes of the meetings published so that people can see what you...
they're online. They're
so
online.
they're on the council's
council website. If you go on council website, you find community council meetings are published. We have also the we have the council itself, and then we have community council. It's like the local council, local meetings, whereby you have maybe like about 12, is it 12? Yeah, about 12 different wards. They form community council in that area.
Okay.
Take for instance, like Northeast multi-ward is a community council.
So where does the mayor come in with this? Is the mayor like a different body, or is it part of the council, the head of the council?
Okay. Now, mayor is part of the council. However, this is how it works. In our borough, Southwark, mayor is just ceremonial. That's why mayor is elected every year. At the same time, mayor is, I would say, equivalent to when you see, emergency the king at the local level. The king, for instance, is the head of, so he's the first citizen. He or she is the first citizen of the borough. Yes. And he or she chairs the council meetings.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he chairs the official council meetings, because even though the mayor may have been elected, or say for instance, I was selected by my own party because we have 52 out of 63 councillors.
Wow.
So once my party selected me, that's why I'm mayor-elect, because we have the vote. And then we ratify on Saturday at the official meeting we're going to be held at the Southwark Cathedral, just Angelo.
The inauguration.
So, inauguration, so that one. Then I'll become, so the opposition have the right to present their own candidate as well.
Yeah.
At the same time, I get on very well. You've got the mayor is not partisan, even though you are coming from. So therefore, we work together. So that's number 4. That's a ceremonial mayor. But in other councils like Lewisham, like Newham, and Waltham Forest, I think they have, and Tamley, they have elected executive mayor. That executive mayor, the public elect that person. So that person, man or woman, he or she will then form his or her own cabinet, appoint them like commissioners, like equivalent to ministers.
Which is different to the council then?
It's still the council. It's just that it's the system you have. In our own, in the Southwark, for instance, this is what I'm saying, we have ceremonial mayors. But in other boroughs, you have executive mayor.
Okay.
So ceremonial in the sense that I have no power than chairing the meeting.
Okay.
Whereas in other boroughs where they have executive mayor, now equivalent to say you elect your president. And the president then select the ministers. So that's the equivalent in the local. It's just that they will then be commissioners and so on. And then in our own borough, for instance, we have what is called cabinet members. So each cabinet member, one could be for education, one could be for housing and so on. And the same thing at the national level. But they still have that in where there's elected mayor, executive mayor, but it's just that he alone will decide to appoint them. Yeah, he or she, sorry, because it could be a woman.
To become deputy of mayor over the past few years. So I always believe God's time is the best as a Christian. Forgive me if I'm banging on that. So, what I'm raising grace to be standing here at the first city of my great borough, and what an example to other countries. You come as a visitor, as a refugee, whatever you come, I came as a visitor. I became a student. By transitioning into a British citizen, you can be now, which means you can be anything. But at the same time, that privilege also comes with responsibility as well. And that's part of the Local Government